You're listening to the Agentic Engineer podcast, weekly AI agent intelligence for builders. I'm your host, and with me as always is my co-host. Let's get into it.
Oh, we have a spicy one this week. Privacy scandals, protocol wars, and a paper that says your coding agent is basically burning money. Issue 22. Let's go.
Alright, quick rundown for this week. xAI open-sourced Grok build, their full Rust coding agent, under Apache 2.0. 20,000 stars in 4 days. But the reason they did it is the real story.
Yeah, because they got caught uploading people's private repos to xAI's cloud. Silently. No consent prompt. A researcher found it and the internet exploded.
Musk pledged full data deletion, and days later, boom, Apache 2.0. The whole thing is out in the open now.
Also this week, the protocol wars went fully public. Google, Microsoft, Salesforce, Snowflake, and ServiceNow all lined up behind A2A against Anthropic's MCP. And AWS published a reference implementation composing 5 protocols together.
And our tool of the week is Amazon Bedrock Managed Knowledge Base. Full RAG pipeline is one managed primitive. 6 connectors, real-time permissions, parsing for PDFs, video, audio. Weeks of glue code just gone. Okay, let's dig into the big one. xAI goes all in. They publish the full Rust source for Grok build. Agent loop, TUI, tool dispatch, plugin system, MCP support, subagent orchestration. Everything.
And I want to be clear about why this happened. A security researcher caught Grok build silently uploading entire repositories to xAI's cloud infrastructure. Your private code, piped to Elon's servers, no consent prompt anywhere.
The backlash was immediate. Musk pledged a full data deletion. And then days later, they open-sourced the whole thing under Apache 2.0.
So here's my question. Is this genuine redemption or is this just damage control dressed up as generosity?
I think it can be both. The motivation is cynical, sure. But the release itself is genuinely significant. This is the first frontier lab to open source a production coding agent harness that runs fully local first.
See, I disagree with the framing. You're saying judge the code, not the company. But I think trust matters here. This is a company that was literally exfiltrating your code last week. And now you're supposed to run their agent on your code base?
But that's exactly why open source helps. You can audit now. You can read every line. Point at any inference endpoint via config.toml. Your models, your hardware, your data stays home.
Fair. But how many developers are actually going to audit a full Rust code base? Most people will just clone and run. Trust still matters even when the code is open.
Okay, let's compare it to the alternatives though. Claude Code is proprietary. You trust Anthropic or you don't use it. Codex CLI is Apache 2.0 but functionally tied to OpenAI's inference. Grok build is both open and model agnostic.
The architecture is actually interesting though. Rust means the agent loop is fast and memory safe. The plugin system uses traits where tools register capabilities at startup. MCP integration is first class, not bolted on.
And subagent orchestration handles fan-out natively with isolated contexts per child agent. That's clean.
At the same time, xAI also shipped Grok 4.3 on Amazon Bedrock. First xAI model on the platform. Configurable reasoning effort, 1 million token context, native tool calling.
The strategy is visible now. Open source the harness, sell the inference. It's the meta playbook with Llama. Give away the weights, build dependency on the commercial layer.
Except Meta chose that strategy. xAI got forced into it by a privacy scandal. Whether that distinction matters is the real question.
For builders, the practical answer is, the source is inspectable now. If you care, read it. If you don't trust it, fork it and strip it down. Alright, quick hits. First up, Google ARD. Agentic Resource Discovery. 10 companies launched this, including Google, Microsoft, GitHub, Hugging Face, NVIDIA, Salesforce.
This is the how do agents find tools problem. You drop an iCatalog.json on your domain. Registries aggregate them. Trust verification built in. GitHub Agent Finder and Hugging Face Discover tool already use it.
It's complementary to MCP. MCP handles invocation. ARD handles discovery. 2 layers, 1 stack.
Which makes sense. You need to find the tool before you can call it. DNS for agent tools, basically.
Next. 1Password and Anthropic shipped a browser integration for Claude. The agent uses stored credentials without the password or MFA code ever reaching the model's context.
This is huge. Per task approval via biometrics. When Claude takes browser control, the vault auto-locks to only explicitly granted credentials. Password never touches the context window.
First production implementation of Zero Trust Credential Access for AI agents. Solves how do agents log in without sharing secrets.
I love this because it's the first time someone said agents need credentials and build a real answer instead of just telling people to paste their password into a prompt.
Microsoft Agent Framework 1.11. The big feature is message injection middleware. External code can enqueue a message into a live agent run, picked up on the next model call without restarting the turn.
So you can nudge a running agent mid-turn. Skills API graduated out of experimental. Progressive MCP disclosure landed. Go SDK in public preview.
This is the release where math session, skills, and budget stories all become production grade.
2 more quick ones. AWS Lambda console now has a copy agent prompt button. One click configures your coding agent with serverless skills and the serverless MCP server. Works with Kiro, Claude Code, Cursor, Copilot, Codex, Devon Desktop, Open Code.
AWS embedding itself into every coding's workflow, one developer experience shortcut at a time. Smart distribution play.
And finally, Versal open sourced Eve. File system first agent framework where the entire agent definition lives in subfolders. Skills, tools, channels, subagents, schedules. Auto-compilation builds a manifest.
Durable sessions that survive crashes, isolated sandboxing, human-in-the-loop gates, and evils as a deploy gate. Convention over configuration applied to agent architecture.
Your agent is literally a folder. I kind of love the simplicity of that mental model.
Paper breakdown time. This one's called E3, and the core claim is that your coding agent wastes 91% of its tokens.
91%. Let that sink in. A typical GPT-4o coding agent inspects 14 files to make a 3-line edit. It reads the same utility module 3 times across tool calls. Refetches directory listings it already has in context.
The paper formalizes this as agent cognitive redundancy ratio. And they measured it at 91% on real tasks. Not synthetic benchmarks. Real code. Real agents.
So if you're running coding agents at scale, you're 10 times what you should be. That's not a rounding error. That's a business problem.
The fix is called E3. 3 steps. Estimate, execute, expand. Before touching code, the agent estimates task scope. One-liner? Read 2 files max. Refactor? Budget accordingly.
Execute means take the minimum viable path. No exploratory browsing. No let me also check detours. Just the direct route.
And expand only triggers on verification failure. If tests pass, stop. If they fail, then widen the search.
Results on MSE bench, 100% task success maintained. Token usage down 91%. Cost down 85%. Files inspected down 92%.
The implementation is straightforward. Add a scope estimation step before the agent loop. Enforce file read budgets per scope tier. Gate expansion on test failure.
But here's what they didn't solve. Scope estimation itself can be wrong. 8% of tasks get under scope on first pass, triggering expansion.
8% is acceptable for most workloads. But for safety-critical code where missed context causes bugs, the expand on failure approach ship incomplete fixes that pass narrow tests.
Still though, if you can cut your agent costs by 85% and maintain success rate, that's not a nice to have. That's a deploy today optimization.
Time saved reading this paper through us. 6 minutes versus 38 minutes for the full paper. 6.3x compression. Tool of the week. Amazon Bedrock Managed Knowledge Base. Generally available.
Building RAG used to mean weeks of plumbing. Choose a vector store. Build ingestion pipelines. Handle document parsing. Wire up retrieval. Manage permissions. This collapses all of that into one managed primitive.
What shipped at GA? 6 native connectors. S3, SharePoint, Confluence, Google Drive, OneDrive, Web Crawler. No custom Lambda functions for ingestion.
Real-time ACL checks. And I want to emphasize real-time. Permissions verified live at query time against the source system. Not cached. Not stale. If someone loses SharePoint access, the knowledge base reflects it on the next query.
Document parsing at scale. PDFs up to 500 megabytes. Audio up to 2 gigabytes. Video up to 10 gigabytes. Automatic chunking and embedding.
Native Agent Core Gateway plus MCP. Any MCP-compatible framework can discover and invoke your knowledge base as a tool. Strands, LangChain, xAI, Llama Index. All supported.
And agentic retrieval. Multi-hop reasoning that decomposes complex queries into subqueries, and retrieval with multi-hop is $4 per thousand. Storage is $5 per gigabyte per month. No minimum capacity floor.
That's actually reasonable? For enterprise RAG with live permissions? I expect them to charge way more for the ACL feature alone.
Agent index time. Weekly star tracker. Notable moves this week. N8 takes the crown at plus 890, pushing past 197,000 total stars.
LangGraph at plus 501 continues its quiet climb, now outpacing LangChain proper at plus 499 in weekly growth for the second consecutive week.
Defy holds strong at plus 780. The bottom of the table tells its own story. Semantic kernel at plus 32, Haystack at plus 70 are effectively flat.
Meanwhile, xAI at plus 403 nearly triples AutoGen's pace at plus 138, widening the gap between Microsoft's old multi-agent bet and the community alternative.
The LangGraph overtaking LangChain trend is fascinating. The graph-based orchestration layer is growing faster than the foundation it's built on.
People want structure for their agents, not just chains. Makes sense.
Hot take. The companies who own your data just told Anthropic to back off.
Google, Microsoft, Salesforce, Snowflake, ServiceNow. 5 companies that collectively control where most enterprise data lives. They publicly align behind A2A as the enterprise agent coordination standard.
Everyone says MCP and A2A are complementary. MCP does tool connectivity. A2A does agent-to-agent orchestration. Different layers, peaceful coexistence. That's the diplomatic framing.
Here's the real framing. Anthropic's MCP has been the default plumbing for 18 months. It's in Claude Code, Cursor, Kiro, Copilot, every coding agent that matters.
And Anthropic, a model lab with no production infrastructure, controls the protocol that connects agents to enterprise systems. The database companies noticed.
They don't want a model vendor owning the socket between agents and their customers' data. Period. That's what this is about.
AWS published the most telling piece, a reference implementation where MCP, A2A, UTCP, AGUI, and X402 all compose together in Strands SDK. 5 protocols, each handling its layer.
The message is clear. The future isn't one protocol winning. It's a stack where MCP becomes one layer among many. And the orchestration layer above it belongs to the companies with the data.
Watch what happens when your Salesforce agent needs to coordinate with your Snowflake agent. A2A, not MCP, will handle that handshake.
The plumbing war is real. And Anthropic is about to learn what happens when the infrastructure companies decide you're sitting in their chair.
I'll push back slightly. MCP has massive developer adoption. 150 orgs in A2A production is nothing compared to the thousands of MCP integrations already live.
Developer adoption versus enterprise procurement. 2 different games. Developers chose MCP. Enterprises might choose A2A. And enterprises write the big checks.
Fair. Both can coexist technically. The question is who controls the default. And the defaults tend to win. That's a wrap for issue 22 of the Agentic Engineer podcast. Subscribe to the newsletter at theagentisengineer.waltsoft.net, and follow us on YouTube at the Agentic Engineer Pod. Share it with a friend who's building with agents. We'll be back next week. Until then, keep building.
Keep building.